You are Locked On Warriors Postcast, part of Locked On Sports San Francisco on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Warriors Postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and you may know me as the former producer for the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KMBR. You might know me from this show as well. We've been doing it for a minute now, and what a day to be a Dubs fan, man. The Dubs decimated the Dallas Mavericks 126-102 as they win their biggest game of the season to date. This was basically a must win when you talk about the playoff implications and everything surrounding it, but that wasn't all today, man. Particles were flying everywhere today with Jimmy Butler making his home debut, Steph dropping 30 in only 3 quarters of play, and the Andre Iguodala jersey retirement festivities postgame. It could not have been any better for the Golden State Warriors today. And also of note, the Warriors defense absolutely smothered Kyrie, Irving, and Klay Thompson today, holding the two stars to just 2 of 13 shooting from the floor in the first half and only 28 combined points in total, allowing the Dubs to coast to the finish with an easy win that, again, could have massive playoff implications. So much to break down from today. We'll get into all of it as much as we can in our 30 minutes. But first, I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Sports San Francisco YouTube channel. If you aren't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button right now. Thanks also for listening on the Locked On Warriors podcast feed. Make sure to check out the Locked On Warriors Daily Show for more in-depth coverage. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. And man, the Warriors, we'll get to the Iggy jersey retirement stuff a little bit later on in the show. I'm still just absolutely buzzing from watching that right now, just seeing all the luminaries that were on stage. But we got to go over this game first, and we'll get to the jersey retirement after. But the way this one started, man, I was a little concerned before the Dubs put this one to bed in that first half. Really is when we could have done the show at halftime. We really could have started it right then. But the Warriors just completely garbage to start this game. I mean, before that first Steve Kerr timeout around the 10-minute mark, the Warriors were just letting everything inside. I mean, the Dallas Mavericks were getting to the rim at will. And maybe the Dubs were off kilter due to the high intensity of just the day with the Iggy festivities and also the really weird early start time, a 12:30 start on the West Coast, very strange. But Kerr calls that timeout around 10-minute mark, and the Warriors went on immediately a 15-0 run, and they closed out the quarter on a 29-9 run. It was absolutely perfection from the Warriors. Curry double figures in that first quarter, and in the non-Steph minutes, a lot of those points came, like Steph exited about halfway through that first quarter. In that, the majority of that run came with Steph on the bench. It was Jimmy Butler plus 15 with Steph on the bench tonight at halftime. That was amazing. Like Jimmy really making a huge difference in the non-Steph minutes. He's been doing this repeatedly since he got to the team. Jimmy Butler is, I mean, the perfect fit for this Warriors team. We've discussed this over and over and over again. But man, tonight, his first night at Chase Center, you could feel the vibes. Like the fans are just feeding off of this energy that the team has. And Steve Kerr even addressed that post game, talking about how everybody has been watching this unfold, and everybody can feel it. The team, the players, the coaches, everybody in the front office, and of course, everybody out there at Chase Center and all of Dub Nation watching from home. We can all feel the momentum this team is starting to build, and it's very tangible, and it is something that I think is very real. We heard Mully compare this team a couple days ago to the 2022 team that won the NBA championship, a team that really started to put it together towards the end of February, beginning of March, same point in time in the season that we're at right now. This is when you got to get hot. This is when you got to flip the switch. The Warriors have shown that they can flip that switch before when they have the right team makeup. And man, this is looking more and more like they have the right team makeup. The Warriors did kind of let Dallas back into the game there a little bit in the second quarter. The lead was creeping up closer to back down to 10, and the Warriors immediately kick-started another run. Kerr calls a timeout, and the Dubs push the lead right back to 20 points. And I love that. I love that this team is responding so well to when someone punches them and the Warriors need to take a timeout and regroup, they come back out and they punch back. It's not like it was before. When teams would go on these runs, the Warriors' only recourse was to try and outscore them. There was no way that the Warriors could slow the other team down other than just relying on their own shot makers. That's not the case anymore. The Warriors are dictating tempo, and they're forcing teams into bad shots, 24-second violations, turnovers. All these things are created by the addition of Jimmy Butler to this defense. And the way that and also with the pacing on offense, he's so methodical. The way that he operates on offense, you can't speed him up. You can't force him to do anything he doesn't want to do. And he's going to get to the lane, and he's going to get a bucket at the rim, or he's going to get to the line, or he's going to make a great pass to someone else who is going to score. Tonight, he had another phenomenal needle thread dime to Moses Moody. It was late in the game in this one, but he hit him with a bounce pass in between like three defenders through the paint, and Moses with the nice reverse layup got it to go. I'm so impressed by Jimmy Butler, everything he does, especially his passing, man. I'm just enthralled with watching these Jimmy Butler passing. He's putting on a clinic out there. All these Jimmy Butler passes are executed to perfection. But after in that second half or second quarter, there was a lot of things that went on there. There was the Quentin Post rampage that he went on, where he started scoring a bunch. He hit a three and had a layup, or had a big dunk over two Mavericks defenders. Got to the line, dropped in a couple from there, scored 7 consecutive points for the Warriors in very limited action. More electrifying play from Quentin Post in very limited minutes. And of course, we had a fun moment with Klay Thompson picking up a technical and Draymond yelling like so loud right in Klay's ear that the court side, the boom mic could pick it up, and you could just hear Draymond yelling, "Yes!" right into Klay's ear. And it was just so funny, man. I love Klay Thompson, but it is very refreshing to watch him come here and struggle against these Warriors, because I love Klay. I just don't want him to play well against the Dubs, man. He can play well any other night, but I do not want the guy who the Warriors let walk out the building to come back in here to Chase Center and torch them. And thankfully, that hasn't really happened since his first time back here at Chase Center. But the Warriors have done a very good job of limiting the guard play from the Mavericks in this one. Look at what happened last time. Kyrie went for 42, was just dropping in threes all over the place. And tonight, the Warriors hold him to just 17, 1 of 6 from downtown, and he did not have a very good first half. 2 of 10 from the field in the first half, and the Warriors, again, coasted to the finish after they bottled up Kyrie and Klay in that first half. And it was just a fun game, man. Steph and Jimmy with 14 apiece at halftime and had a 17-point lead. This is very different from their last game. The last time out, Steph and Jimmy both in single figures or in single digits after halftime or at halftime, and the Warriors had a 15-point lead too. So the Warriors are showing you that they can win in multiple different ways. They don't need to beat you up with Jimmy and Steph every night, but they certainly can do it whenever they need to. And then in the third quarter, Steph comes out and goes absolutely wild, hits the night on PJ Washington in the third quarter, man. 16 points in that one quarter. We just should have started the show right then, man. I don't know what I was doing waiting for this actual game to end. I mean, we needed to get the Iggy retirement stuff in there, but man, it was so fun to watch Steph hit that, because for those of you who might not have seen this in the last time the Warriors and Mavericks played, when the Mavericks were walking off the floor after that Mavericks win in Dallas, PJ Washington looked over at the media scrum that was sitting over by the locker room, and he hit him with the night as he was walking back to the locker room. And you should know better than this, PJ Washington. If you are an opponent of Stephen Curry's, Steph is always watching. Steph, we know that he goes on his Twitter at halftime. He has done this before. He's admitted to this. He reads all the negative stuff and he uses it as fuel. I guarantee you Steph Curry saw that, because as soon as he hit that three in that third quarter, he looked, when PJ was on him, he looked right at him and hit him with the night in the third quarter. And if that doesn't tell you that he's got just an immense, just overwhelming amount of confidence in this team, I don't know what will tell you that. And if Steph Curry believes, man, so do I. Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Steve Kerr, all saying that they believe this team can win a championship. And I'll tell you what, man, it sounds crazy, but every day that goes by, I believe more and more that this team can actually get it done. I know that sounds completely bonkers. This is a team that is currently 9th in the standings. They have a long way to go to climb back up into the actual playoffs. We'll see if they can do it. Right now with the win, by the way, they're only a half game behind Dallas for that 8th spot. And with the win, they even up the season series. So they don't allow the Mavs to just run away with the tiebreaker. This was a massive, massive win for the Warriors. They're just like 3 games behind the Clippers for that 6th seed. So it is attainable. You're going to probably need to win 48, 49 games to get to that point. That's going to be really tough to do. It's like, 20-ish wins for the rest of the season for the Warriors. Tonight was their 30th win of the season. So you need, 28, 29 more wins before the end of the season, excuse me, I can't do math, 18 or 19 more wins before the end of the season. That is a lot of games that the Warriors are going to have to win in not a lot of time left in this NBA season. Every single game matters. And I said in the beginning of the show, this was kind of a must-win game, if you think about it, for the Warriors, because of the tiebreaker implications, because you're playing the team that's directly ahead of you in the standings, and because the Mavericks came out and absolutely trounced you in the one game that you had with Jimmy. It's the one game that you've lost with Jimmy Butler so far. You needed to come back and show that you could beat this team, especially when they don't have their bigs. Obviously, the calculus of the Warriors and Mavs matchup changes a lot when the Mavericks actually have their centers. I mean, they're centerless right now, and that's supposed to be a strength of their team. No Anthony Davis, that's a big deal. But we've seen the Warriors win against Anthony Davis teams before, and I think they can do it again. I don't think that Anthony Davis would have really changed too much in tonight's outcome. The Warriors really ran away with this one. And perhaps the most impressive part of tonight's win, they only shot 30% from three-point land. This team got this win based on free throws, based on executing the offense, based on scoring points off of turnovers, despite the fact that they turned the ball over 10 times, but they did not let the Dallas Mavericks score very much off of those turnovers. And the Warriors made the most out of their 18 forced turnovers against the Mavs. The Warriors 30 points off turnovers, the Mavs only 10 off the 10 turnovers. So the Warriors get 30 off of 18 and the Mavs only get 10. You are maximizing these opportunities if you're the Warriors. Jimmy Butler is the entire reason all of these things are happening. The free throw numbers, the defense, the points in transition, the way that the Warriors just control games right now, it looks so different than it has at any other point in time this season. And I'm telling you guys, I'm starting to believe in this team. I truly, truly am starting to believe that this team can go and do some damage in the playoffs, that maybe, just maybe, we could see this team go all the way to the Western Conference Finals, maybe even the NBA Finals. Strap in, Dub Nation. This last couple months of the regular season are going to be absolutely bonkers. We got to take a quick break here, but still so much to get into from today's game. We have not even scratched the surface on the Andre Iguodala jersey retirement. There's so many things to get into. Got to talk about Brandon Podziemski a little bit too. Just some of these role players are really, really, really stepping up for the Warriors. Let's talk about some of that stuff next on the Locked On Warriors postcast. Today's show is sponsored by DoorDash. NBA fans, get ready. They swoosh, you save. Thanks to Dash Pass, every time a player drops 50 or more points in a game, you score a huge deal the next day. It's simple. When any player scores 50 or more in a game in the 24-25 NBA regular season, Dash Pass members get 50% off an order, up to $10 off the next day from noon to midnight. You can take advantage of this deal in more than a few different ways. Maybe you want a game day feast, man. I love me some game day feast, some wings, some pizza, whatever you want, man. After an epic 50-point performance, you can celebrate with whatever you want. Maybe some burgers from your favorite spot delivered right to your door. And as we know, sometimes you get those late night cravings. Maybe you've been doing a little puff pass and you just maybe you need a little snack, but you don't want to. You're certainly not going to go get a car. You're not going to go walk anywhere because it's late at night. So maybe you just need DoorDash to hook you up. You get that Dash Pass to grab some delicious. Something delicious while saving big. And maybe you need some lunch on the go. If you need a quick and easy lunch the next day with Dash Pass, you can get your favorite meals with $0 delivery fees and reduced service fees. Plus, you can save even more with this exclusive NBA offer. Sign up for Dash Pass and be ready to save when any player scores 50 or more in a game. Dash Pass members get 50% off an order the very next day, up to $10 off. Just use promo code NBA50 from noon to midnight after a 50-point game on eligible orders at participating merchants. Must have an active Dash Pass account. Terms apply. Visit DoorDash to learn more. Welcome back to the Locked On Warriors postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. And tonight, the Warriors, well, not nighttime yet. Today, the Warriors 126-102 over the Dallas Mavericks. And man, Chase Center was bumping tonight, like absolutely bonkers stuff in Chase Center. We got the Warriors chant back in full throat. I mean, just hearing that through the TV, I could tell how loud that was. And man, was that just so satisfying. It like fed my soul to hear all of Dub Nation out there, Warriors, in full force, louder than I've heard it at any point in time this season. You can tell this fan base really believes in this team right now. And it's obvious why. I mean, the addition of Jimmy Butler, Steph has been playing out of his blanking mind this month, man. We can get into that a little bit too. But first, I want to talk about Brandon Podziemski, man. I was actually talking with one of my friends who's he's a big Dub fan, and we've been talking. You know, we talk all the time about the Warriors. His name's Jordan. He's also my pickup basketball partner, basically, but he always cooks me out there. So, but I got to shout out Jordan. He was telling me that he just wasn't super thrilled with pods lately, and I had to educate him, man. Like, Brandon Podziemski has been playing so blanking well since his return from injury in January 23rd, my sister's birthday. Shout out my sister. He has been playing super, super well. Averaged 14.5 points a game, almost 5 rebounds a game, and just over 4 assists a game in those 13 outings since January. Today was his 14th. And again, today, pods with a great slash line. I mean, this guy has been so good for the Warriors since coming back. He had 21 in their last time out. And tonight, Brandon Podziemski, gets 17 points, leads the Warriors in plus minus with plus 30. He had 13 boards, including 3 offensive rebounds. He had a couple assists and threw in a block and a steal. This guy has been so good. 3 of 5 from 3-point range and shooting 7 of 15 from the field. What more could you want from this guy? And maybe when Kuminga comes back, Pods goes to the bench. Maybe that's what happens. But Brandon Podziemski is going to continue to get playing time with this team. And the Warriors absolutely need him to keep playing how he's been for them to do well. And there's no coincidence that he's been playing super well alongside Jimmy Butler. That is not just like a random thing that's happening. It is because there's so much attention focused on Jimmy and on Steph. You can't guard everybody. Brandon has also taken some steps forward in what he's been doing, like the left hand off the left foot layups. Very Tony Parker-esque, and I love watching this guy play basketball. But it wasn't all pods tonight. We had to give him a little bit of love. Steph Curry, man, 30 blanking points for Steph again. 30 goes for 30 on 12 of 20 shooting and 3 of 8 from the 3-point line. Steph did all his damage in the first 3 quarters. He did not really need to play at all late in this one because the Warriors were up by so much. Steph is his 12th 30-point game of the season. He has 0 games over 40 points this season, which is a little bit interesting, but it was dominant. Those 3 quarters where Steph was just letting it fly. That third quarter, he absolutely torched the Mavericks and just put this one away. Again, hit him with the night in the third quarter. And by the way, Steph, this month, dude is averaging damn near 30 points a game, 29.6 points per game. So I learned in elementary school math, which is about where my math level peaks at, that, you know, if it's 5 or more, you round up. So that's 30 points a game in my mind. And Steph, in this time, from 3-point range, he's only shooting 35%. He's not doing it all with the 3 ball. He's doing this with getting to the free throw line. He's taking 2-point shots. He's driving the lane. He's getting layups. And all of this is open and predicated on Jimmy Butler doing what he does and drawing the defense towards him. All these points off of turnovers, all of this looks so good, man. And Steph, this is his best month of the season because prior to this, you look at what he did in January, 22.2 points a game. You look at December, 21.5 points a game. You look at November, 23.5 points a game. And to start the season, those first 3 games in October, he was averaging under 20 a game in there. So this has been Steph's best scoring month of the season. Again, absolutely no coincidence that this comes with Jimmy Butler in the mix. This is exactly why you needed to go get him. He gives you everything that you wanted on this team that you didn't have before. Someone who can slow the pace down, someone who can control the game late in the fourth quarter, and just when other teams go on runs, he can do so many things to stop you. He can actually stop you on defense, and then offensively, he can get you out of your rhythm by slowing you down, using that whole shot clock, getting to the free throw line, taking his time there, draining the free throws, and just sucking the life out of your offense. And Jimmy has done that to perfection since arriving here, and it has allowed Steph to flourish. Steph is playing the best basketball we've seen of this season, and I expect this to get better. Again, these are 2 guys who have very limited time playing with each other, very limited time practicing with each other. All of these things are going to improve the more that Jimmy Butler spends time with the Warriors. And by the way, I saw right before we started the show, I saw that Jimmy Butler, NBA.com, I believe, posted this. Jimmy Butler was coming through the tunnel at the end of the game and was talking right into the camera saying, we got the first win back at Chase Center, my first win as a Warrior at Chase Center, and now he's just got to go find a place to live. And so if I can advocate, Jimmy Butler, you should stay in the city of San Francisco. And I know that a lot of people love to hate on San Francisco in today's day and age, but it occurs to me frequently, these people don't come to San Francisco often and don't live here. And that's fine. If you aren't here and you don't want to appreciate the greatness that is San Francisco, that's fine with me. I hear from a lot of people lately, San Francisco's got, quote, no aura. And I mean, Chase Center looked like it was filled with blanket aura tonight, if you know what I mean. And Jimmy Butler, I mean, what more could you want? Come out here to the Sunset. I'll show you around, man. We got Golden Gate Park right here. We got the beach. We got all sorts of great food. Man, come on over to the Sunset. I'll hook you up, Jimmy. I'll show you the good spots to eat. We can go hang out and have a good time. But Jimmy Butler, stay in San Francisco, man. Don't bother yourself with all that Bay Area traffic commuting. Just stay here. It's great. It's a beautiful place to live. Lots more to get into on the other side. The number one thing we got to talk about now, Andre Iguodala jersey retirement. What an event. What a spectacle. Let's get into it on the other side of the Locked On Warriors postcast. Today's show is sponsored by FanDuel. When the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started, and there's no better place to get in on it than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game, so even if you miss the opening tip-off or want to bet on a fourth-quarter comeback, I just wouldn't bet against the Dubs on a fourth-quarter comeback, you can stay in on the action. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay. I love using FanDuel's live betting feature because it keeps every moment of the game exciting. Whether I'm backing my team for a late-game rally or picked a player to hit a clutch three, I never feel like I missed my chance. Plus, the app is easy to use, and when you win, you paid instantly. Love that. And right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Welcome back to the Locked On Warriors postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and tonight the Warriors dominate the Dallas Mavericks 126-102. In postgame, we had the Andre Iguodala jersey retirement, man. And I was only thinking one thing when he was walking out there. Of everyone on Golden State, open shot, the fate of the universe on the line. The Martians have the death beam pointed at Earth. You better hit it. I want Iguodala. Shout out Max Kellerman, man. That quote will live in NBA lore forever. And man, oh man, Andre Iguodala deserves all of the praise. And what a great ceremony, man. They honored all 7 prior retired jerseys for the Golden State Warriors, which I actually personally got to meet 3 of those guys when I was a kid. I met Rick Barry, Al Attles, and Nate Thurmond all at the same time. And there was like little 10-year-old Triple E staring up at these 3 monster human beings, especially Nate Thurmond. And I will never forget shaking Nate Thurmond's hand, even though he was a advanced age at that time, and he was a little shaky when he shook it. You could feel the power in that guy's hands, and they were absolutely monstrous, like huge. Like I feel like it was the size of like 3 of my current size hands as a full-grown adult. But what a great thing to be able to honor all of these past Warriors legends. The only actual player who had his jersey retired previously who made it out there was Rick Barry, because Chris Mullin didn't make it. He sent his daughter out there, which is the same thing he does for the Warriors championship parade. It's kind of funny. And obviously a lot of these guys aren't around anymore. Al Attles had his son out there. Wilt Chamberlain's nephew was out there. So seeing Rick Barry out there, it kind of makes you realize how big of a gap that there was between the Warriors of yesteryear that were, that we honor still today, and how much of a gap there was between those successful teams and the success that we're having now. And it makes you want to hold on to this moment and appreciate it that much more, man, because this isn't going to be forever. Like Steph talked about it tonight during his spiel for Andre on the podium. He said, the end's near, basically, and we got to stop and recognize these things. And he talked extensively, made some jokes about Iggy leaving, making him the oldest Warrior now. It was pretty funny. He wasn't the only one to talk. We also had Bob Myers. Bob Fitzgerald was hosting the whole ceremony. We had a video compilation of tons of basketball luminaries congratulating him on his jersey retirement, from Eric Spoelstra to Rob Pelinka, Jordan Poole, Luke Walton, Channing Frye. Richard Jefferson, Drew Holiday, Evan Turner, Chris Paul, Harrison Barnes, Kevin Durant, and even James Harden and his wife and his daughter as well. And the one thing that stood out to me of all of these basketball players, older than him, younger than him, guys who played with him in college, coaches, every single person used the same word. And that one word was brother. They all view Andre Iguodala as literal family because that guy is just that personable. He's just that great of a human being, not just a great basketball player, but Andre, everywhere he's been, has made a tangible impact, not just on the team while he's there, but on all of the players that he plays with. And it's not just while he's there, it continues for the rest of their career. Drew Holiday literally said, I'm just trying to be like you, man. That's why I'm trying to shape my career off him. And that is, I think, the biggest compliment that you can pay to another vet. I mean, Andre Iguodala went from being like the man on the Sixers. I loved watching him when he was with the 76ers, and he would just dunk on people all day long. I don't know how he only made one all-star team while he was in Philly, but I mean, he probably should have made more in my opinion. But man, Iguodala just transforms from the main guy, from being that dude to being a role player, to chipping in and never complained, never had gripes, never publicly threw anyone under the bus. He did it with the utmost professionalism and class. And that is something that is very rare in modern NBA. Steph had probably the quote of the night when he said that Andre sacrificed ego for excellence. And that just sums up everything about Andre Iguodala right there. No ego, all-time excellence. This guy, four-time NBA champion, the 2015 Finals MVP. His one All-Star year was in 2012, all defensive first team in 2014, and second team in 2011. And man, this guy, you could have given him more accolades throughout his career. One of the interesting things that came up in this was I don't remember who said it, but someone, I think it might have been Kerr, maybe it was Steph, maybe it was Bob Myers. I don't remember who. Actually, I think it was Bob Myers, said that the greatest thing that a player can have to be honored in his sport is to have his jersey retired. And that got me thinking, man, would you rather, if you are a player, would you rather get into the Hall of Fame in your sport, or would you rather have your jersey retired by the team that you played for? If you had to pick one, because I would hope that Andre, I really hope he gets into the Hall of Fame, but I do think it's going to be a stretch. I think a lot of Warriors fans think he'll be in. I think a lot of NBA pundits and people around the league do not think that he had quite the resume of accolades and all these different things to get into the Hall of Fame. We will see if that eventually happens. It is the easiest Hall of Fame of any major sport to get into, so he's got a shot. And man, the number one thing, though, that Andre contributed to this team, Steph talked about it in his speech there at the end. He was the first guy to pick the Warriors. He was the first big name guy to choose to come here. They didn't need to trade for him. They didn't need to go and like, you know, get him they didn't need to draft him. They didn't need to get him in a different way. They got him in free agency. He wanted to come here. It was the first guy. I mean, you don't land Kevin Durant a couple years later. If Andre Iguodala doesn't choose to come here, you don't even win that first championship without Andre Iguodala. He changed the entire course of this franchise. Without Andre Iguodala, we might still be talking about how it's a great timeout, man. We might still be having the modern day version of Troy Murphy, Mike Dunleavy, Jay Rich, and Adonal Foyle out there. And let me tell you, that is not a brand of basketball I would want to continue watching, even though I did go to plenty of those games when it was a great timeout. And I did very much enjoy watching Jay Rich dunk on fools all day long. But I really didn't enjoy watching the Warriors win 20 games a year and get belt to butt every single night by whoever they were playing. I much, much, much prefer watching this version of the Golden State Warriors. And this version of the Golden State Warriors does not exist without Andre Iguodala. They give him the ultimate thing to honor him, as Bob Myers said, in retiring his jersey. If Andre Iguodala does not make it into the Basketball Hall of Fame, he's always going to be up in the Warriors rafters. And that makes my heart so warm, man. Like, if you're watching on the YouTube, you can see how I'm just smiling ear to ear talking about this, man. Like, I loved watching Iguodala, the defense. And I'll tell you what, man, to loop it back to current Warriors stuff, Jimmy gives me a lot of the same vibes that Iggy did. Jimmy's a little bit, more rough around the edges. He's not as much of a diplomat as Andre Iguodala is still. But Jimmy, man, on the court, does so many of the same things that Andre did defensively, and he gives you a little bit more offensively than Andre did at the point in his career when he came to Golden State. So shout out Andre Iguodala. Shout out the Warriors for putting on an absolute show tonight for Andre, both on the court and also the festivities after the game. This was my singular favorite day as a Warriors fan in the 2024-2025 season, and I am so full of hope and joy going forward. I feel like the Steph Curry joy is like emanating from the TV screen into my body watching this team play out there. It is so fun. I feel like I'm on cloud nine right now, and we could just probably do another 30 minutes of this show, but that is all the time that we got for you guys today. Got to wrap this one up. And thanks so much for tuning in. This one has been so fun. I wish every show could be this fun, man. Like, the Warriors have been playing so well, and hopefully, it's been a lot more fun to do these shows after the Jimmy Butler trade, man. This team is just completely reinvigorated. There is so much energy, just particles out the blank and wazoo, man. And I'm so ready to watch how the rest of this season unfolds. I'm locked into the Dubs, man. Just like you should be locked on to the Locked On Warriors postcast. The Warriors, they will be playing again next on the 25th, which is in 2 days, against the Hornets, 7 p.m. tip at home. Finally back at Chase Center after a very, very, very long road trip. And the Warriors could not look any better than they do right now. Thanks so much for tuning in. That's all the time that we got for you guys today. I didn't get to shout out all these people back in the chat, but I appreciate all of you guys chiming in on the show. Always appreciate you guys tuning in. Shout out our everydayers. There's my guy Daniel. Warriors, hell yeah, Daniel. Shout out the Dubs. Shout out Jimmy Butler. Shout out Andre Iguodala. That's all the time we got for you guys today. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Peace.